Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. If you're new here, my name is Elena and I am the homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos. Here on the channel we talk about everything from homeschooling to homemaking, all the things in between. Today we're going to be hanging out in the kitchen. We're going to be doing our very first ever fermenting project. I have been wanting to learn how to ferment for a little while now. Fermentation is, I've been reading up on it, and it's just got a lot of really good probiotics for your gut. And if you have seen a couple other videos, I've been talking about the gut health and mind connection and how I've just been doing a little bit more research on it, and just finding everything that I'm finding is really, it's fascinating to me. I'm completely geeking out on it, about how our guts are so connected to everything else in our body, including our mind. So I have kind of embarked on this thing of getting more fermented foods into our body for those purposes, to just kind of continue helping us on our health journey and things like that. I thought one of the first things that I would try to ferment was actually one of my favorite things to eat. It is Curtido. It is like, I always liken it to like a Latin kimchi, but that's probably so off. Just to me, that's how, I don't know, in my brain how it works. But it is made with cabbage, carrots, onions, and spice, so red peppers, or you can use some other peppers. I would imagine it would taste equally as good. The first time I had this, it was on bukosas, and those are like dough filled. Sometimes you can just have cheese inside. Sometimes it has meat or like pork, or really you could probably stuff it with anything. Anyways, that was the very first time I had it, and I fell in love with it. I wanted to have the side Curtido, like just aside and eat it, and that was just pickled. And then a few years later, I discovered at farmers market, and they had fermented Curtido, and it is just delicious. So I looked up a couple of videos. I also used the recipe in the Nourishing Traditions book. So I'm going to be using the recipe that is in the Nourishing Traditions book, but I also looked at a couple of videos as well, just because I find that's helpful for me. So I will link both the book and then the videos that I watched down below in the description box for you, but let's get into it. I actually don't have a large bowl, so I'm going to use this large stock pot that I have, and I think it'll work fine. And then I'm just gonna, this is all the carrots we had left, so I think I'm gonna start with these thicker ones, and then maybe I'll just dice these up for carrot sticks as a snack. A food processor would go so much faster, but I don't want to wash it. So I'm just gonna do this. It only calls for a cup of carrots, so I think we can hand shred a couple of carrots, or a cup. Okay, that's about a cup there. Making a mess is optional. Apparently in my kitchen though, it's a prerequisite. Everything's just gonna get thrown into the bowl. It says 1 large cabbage. This is a pretty big one. So I'm gonna start with like maybe half of it and see where we're at. So this also needs to be shredded, but you can just cut finely. If you don't have ferment weights, this is what it says to use, like a leaf of it or the core. I think what we're gonna do though is try it with, because I don't have weights yet. We want to get some. So I think what I'm gonna do though is try it with a jar in a jar, but let's see. Let's get this chopped and see how it comes out. Two medium onions. Just a side note, I saved the odds and ends and peels of the onion because I bought organic ones to do this, and they were a little pricey. So I'm gonna see if I can use up every last bit, but I'll have to look that up a little bit later, because first I wanna finish this project and get these chopped up. I just wanted to share, I actually, I just kind of diced them this way, and this last onion I quartered, and then I'm slicing. I'm not really, it's not a full chop. And I think, we don't really mind this. My husband and I don't mind larger pieces of onion. At least I don't. He's never said that he does. So we both like onion. I think it'll be okay. So I'm gonna get this in the pot too, and that might be it for the dicing that we need to do. Okay, we're also gonna add in a tablespoon of oregano, I don't know if it's really necessary to wake up the spices by rubbing it, but we got most of that. And then 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I guess depending on how spicy you want it. So we're gonna do, that was 1/4 teaspoon, let's do 1/2. And then we're gonna use 2 tablespoons of salt because I don't have, uh-oh, I think I did this wrong. Oh, ready. Oh no, we're good. 2 tablespoons of salt then, because I don't have any way to get it started. And then it says to put all this together and then pound with a wooden pounder or a meat hammer for about 10 minutes. I have a wooden flat thing. Let's start with this and see if that does anything. Okay, so I kind of beat it up as best I could with my wooden utensils. I ended up grabbing a spoon as well and kind of just went at it for a little while. I'm gonna let it sit and draw out some of the juices, and I'm just gonna cover it with the lid just for now. So while I'm doing that, I will go ahead and look up what to do, if anything, with these onions, peels, and let it sit and see if it can't come up with more natural juices. But I was looking around in case I didn't get enough juice from the cabbage to make a good brine. Then I found what I can do is go ahead and just make a brine with another teaspoon of salt. I'm just using this sea salt from Costco, and put it in some boiling water and let that cool, and we can use that for brine. So I'm gonna let this sit for a little bit. I went ahead and made a little bit of brine here. 4 cups of water to a tablespoon of salt. You can kind of see the salt didn't finish dissolving down here, but hopefully it'll be okay. I just let it cool, so it's been sitting for a while. And then here's what the curtido is looking like. It already smells so good. I really hope this works out because I love curtido. I love it just when you get it with your pupusas. I always ask for extra when we get it, but it is such a treat. And so I had the cabbage sitting in my fridge for a couple of days, so it could not. If you use a fresh cabbage, you'll probably get more liquid than I did. Here's where we're kind of sitting at now with it. So I'm glad I made that extra brine. I filled up here, and I've got some good liquid. I don't know if the camera is big in. So you can kind of see the liquid, but you can see the liquid, the brine, the natural brine, it stops just shy. So I'm gonna have to put a little bit more brine in here, but so I'm glad I made the brine, and then I just have a little bit more left in here that I am gonna save. I'm gonna get a smaller jar and put that in there because I don't want to waste any of it. I'm gonna pour a little brine in here. Make sure everything is covered, because that's what's gonna you have any of the food out, from what I read, that's what's gonna cause mold and not fermentation. So you want to make sure that everything gets underneath the brine. Trying to push it down. I should probably use the other side of this spoon. Let me stop messing with it. Now I want to push it down with either a leaf, a cabbage leaf, which I did save, but the thing that I don't understand with this is how come this can touch the air but that can't? And so the other option was to put another jar on the bottom to weigh it down. If you don't have weights, you hold it down with a jar and then cover it, but then I have too much room. Let's try the cabbage leaf. Let's see what happens. Okay, so here's my cabbage leaf. I'm gonna just kind of fold it over. Oh, it has a little piece of carrot. I'm gonna take that off. I don't know if it'll make a difference, but let's take it off just in case. And push it down. To hold everything. And then we don't have weights, I'm just gonna take a jar lid and put this on. And then I'll have to keep coming back and burping the jar, and then I'll need to put this under something in case the juices come overflow. So here's our first jar. Let's see how this goes. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in a smaller jar, what I have left. I wonder, let's try it in this large jar and then try this one with the glass jar to weigh it down and see. We'll have two different experiments and see which works. So here's what I got. And then we'll pour in some more brine. And then, oh, I still have quite a bit of brine left in here. What the thing with the jar is, once you plop that jar in there, stuff is coming up around the sides. I don't know if you can see that. So along the side here, because it's not a perfect fit, it's coming up along the side. So you see how it's like floating. So I don't know if that will work at all. The jar and jar method may not be for us. Top of cabbage. Is the cabbage supposed to go under the brine too? So I put the cabbage in, but maybe I don't have enough because small bits of other cabbage are popping up. Good gravy. And I don't have any more used canning lids like this one. So I had watched, oh man, her name is escaping me. But I will put it up on the screen, and she used just these plastic ones when she did her fermentation. So we're gonna try one that way. You have to burp this one also. So we'll put these on something so if it overflows. Just gonna put it in here. So if it overflows, it'll overflow into the container and not make a mess everywhere. So we're gonna leave this on the counter for 3 days. I'm gonna keep a close eye on this one because that's the one that has little bits that are like floating up. And I don't know what to do with that. I don't know how to stop it. Okay, so I've had these on the counter. I've just burped them for this is now the 3rd day. So all I did to burp them was just open this slightly. Oh, I don't know if you heard that. It let me see if I can. So you can hear the gases being released. And then some, I don't know if the camera's picking up the bubbles, but that's all such a good sign. And I'm glad that I put this in here because there is some liquid that has seeped out. And ooh, here's more. So that's all really good sign. This means that the fermentation is working and it's really good. I'm gonna taste it and see. Oh, I'm so excited. Babe, look. Oh, that looks so good.
Smells good.
It does, right? You can see all the bubbles kind of on top. I hope you can. I'm so excited. And this worked out pretty well because we don't have our fermentation weights yet. So for this one, what I ended up doing was putting the cabbage down, and that seemed to work okay. But for this one, I didn't have enough. And what I ended up doing was putting a cabbage down. There's some bubbles in there. And then I went back in, and instead of using the jar, I used a plastic bag filled with brine to weigh it down. And that seemed to hold it down a little bit better. So this one definitely smells more like fermented Curtido. This one doesn't, the one that I used. This one doesn't, the one that I used the plastic bag holding it down for. But let's taste them both and see how they taste. So this is the one that was with the plastic. So I'm gonna taste it.
That's good.
This one, I think this is the one that was with the plastic lid. And I think for sure this one probably could use another day maybe, because I can still taste the salt more, the brine of it, than the actual Curtido flavors that I was looking for. It is still good. It's still tasty, right? But it just not as. So I'll just move it to the side. Oh yeah. It has like a, I don't know if it's that like ferment bite after you eat it, right? Like this, tang is not the right word.
No, but it's.
I don't know, some kind of ferment after it. But this one definitely, it's all wet from. This one is the one that I actually got really packed down. This was the first jar, and so it's really packed in there, and it will continue to ferment when I put it in the refrigerator. I do think that it would be better if it had a little bit more bite to it, a little bit more chili. So I think the next time we do this, I will add some more chili flakes to it, just because we like a good spicy curtido. But this is tasty. I like it. I'm excited that it worked. I cannot wait for us to get some actual fermentation weights so that we can ferment more things, because I just think this is going to be so fun. Anyways, that is it. That's how our curtido experiment went, I guess. Thank you so much for hanging out and watching this with us. If you like this video, would you please be sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know, so I know what kind of content you're looking for here on the channel. And if you haven't heard today, please know that you are deeply and truly loved and so appreciated. Thanks so much for watching.